Good morning, everybody, and welcome to Hickory Brook Farms. The last time you saw us, we were trying to make as much money as possible before our big move, and I didn't really explain where we were moving, so I thought I'd just go through that now. Now, real quick, we did become fortunate enough to make sure that the land we purchased did have a trailer on it for us to stay. It's just small, We do have plans of setting up a brand new build for a house pretty soon, so we'll get that taken care of down the road eventually, but right now we're just going to be focused on getting this farm up and running. Now, we landed a great deal on this farm. It was an old man and a wife. They were at the age of retirement, actually past the age of retirement for most, and they just decided that they were done with all the farming. They wanted to retire and just relax a little bit and enjoy the rest of their years living on their farm, but not having to tend to it. So the owner of the farm, he decided to keep his small little parcel of land over there in that corner, and that's great. He offered to help us get off and running and lend us any expertise or skills that he may have and knowledge that he may have to embark on us. So that's great. I really love it. He seems like a really nice guy. Now, there is something weird with him. When we were at the closing for this property, he did note in the closing statements for the entire property and all the document signings. He does not wish to be named. He does not wish to be called by name. He wants us to call him Grandpa. So I'm a little weirded out by that. And he does just stare. He has this weird glazed over stare, and he never stops watching what I'm doing. It's very strange. It's very unsettling. However, I think the deal that we got on this property far outweighs any sort of weird feelings I may have because he does seem like a genuinely nice, well-rounded man. So we'll just leave it at that. We just have to do our best to ignore that and try to go about our business. So we'll call him Grandpa, and that's all there is to it because we definitely got a great deal on the land. Before the big move, we were really working hard at the old farm, trying to make as much money as we could. We raised $400,000, and that's what we have in our pocket. Well, not in our pocket, obviously. We wouldn't carry that much around, but regardless, that's what we have to work with here. We do have a little wiggle room, and that's going to be really useful as all the crops here are either withered or non-existent. The last fall for them here at the farm was pretty harsh. They lost a lot of workers as well as some health issues for the owners. So we have what we have to work with, which really isn't anything. So unfortunate, but you know what? We're really good at making the most of what we do have. And what we do have is tractors and some tools, or tractor, I should say. Before we left the old farm, I went back to the mechanic shop where I bought the Landini from, and I wasn't really happy with it. So luckily, they still had our Kubota in the shop, and I told them, I'm going to trade this Landini back in, even though we spent all the money for it. And what I want to do is I want to get my Kubota back up and running. So they gave me 67 grand for the Landini, and they took that $67,000 and they said, all right, we're going to fix your Kubota. So unbeknownst to us, it wasn't as big of an issue as what we had originally thought, but because we were in such a time crunch, we kind of made some poor decisions. Now we have our Kubota back, and I'm so happy because this thing, I mean, it's a beautiful tractor. Definitely thankful that we have this back. So we have all our tools. We did trade in our seeder that we had for an older model, and we were able to take some profit from that and buy a weeder, which we seem to always need at the old farm. Obviously, we have our baler, we have our plow, our cultivator as well. Around the corner here, we do have a few tools for the front loader attachment. We have our trailer over here, and then a big one here. So at the old farm, before I come around this corner, I want to explain it. At the old farm, in order to get all our stuff here, we had to hire a moving company that could help us get it here, basically. So we ended up selling the combine. Now, the only reason I did that, because we had to sell the combine to have the money to pay the movers, the only reason I was able to do that was because when we made a deal on this land, the farmer who owned the land decided that he was going to include the combine with the land. He thought to himself that there was no reason not to include it when we have all this land to do crops on. So, um, this old combine is actually included. So it's actually not too far of a step down or a step up from what we had in the frontliner that we owned. But it's okay. I'm really happy with it. I'm pleased with what happened here. I think we got a really great deal. We also have a few sheds over here. Let's see. Do I have the key to this door? I do. Okay. So we have a few sheds over here. We got our little trailer here. We're gonna make a lot of use of this little trailer. I'll tell you that. We have this shed. Well, kind of. I'm not gonna call it junk, but I mean, it's kind of a mess in there. So I don't know how usable that'll be. But this is all the landowners. Well, not the landowner. This is all the previous owners' stuff over here. He's keeping this small parcel of land to himself, like I said. So with that said, we're gonna. Man, he is weird. He just keeps staring at me. He just look at him, man. Anyway, with that said, we're gonna hop right into it. We're gonna start tending to these crops. We have to get everything cultivated because, as I said, it's either withered or it's in need of plowing. So we really have a lot of work to do around here. It's March 1st. We've got so much work to do. We got to start thinking about what we want to plant, what we want to get done around here. As far as goals for the farm, right now, we'll probably just work towards $1 or $2 million. Let's build up a little fund before we get into what we want to do. I would like to eventually work on creating some sort of cow farm. However, we need capital to do that. And the only way we're going to get capital is to make money by growing crops and being consistent. And that's what we're going to do here. We're going to be consistent. We're going to persevere through any hardships we have. And I have a feeling this is going to work out really well. We're going to make this place into a super farm. I imagine this episode might be a little slow because we are just getting started and there's just so much to go over with you guys. But hopefully you guys can stick around, and if you have any suggestions on what we should point this farm towards in terms of goals or in terms of what kind of crops we want to grow or what kind of animals we should bring in, let me know in the comments. It's going to be a really good time for everybody, and quite honestly, any suggestions I see, I'm probably going to use in this series. So definitely leave a comment if you have any ideas, and we'll even discuss them amongst each other on the next episode. So first things first, we're going to hook up this plow. We've got a lot of land plowing to do. Um, just a lot of stuff to get done here on the farm. And it's better off we just get right to work instead of wasting more time yapping. As you can see, we own 3 little plots of farmland right here. We also own one down across the road, but we're going to get to that in a little bit. Right now, we're just going to worry about plowing up this field. It really is unfortunate. They had a full field of crops here. Looks like they were growing canola, and because of health problems and everything else, they ended up just kind of letting it wither away, and they lost a lot of money. And that's partly why they're selling the farm at such a great deal. You know, they're just really hard up for money. But I'm getting this first field all plowed up, and I'm sort of just putting some thoughts together in my mind about what direction I want to take this and what our first course of action is going to be. And honestly, I think our first course of action, especially because we do have this little bit of money built up, I think we're going to try and buy another tractor, whether it's a small size tractor like this little Kubota that we have, or it's a medium sized tractor. I would honestly like to get a bigger tractor if we can. I think it'll help us both with 2 tractors on the farm, as well as one that's a little larger that can maybe move the tools around a little more efficiently. I think it'll help us get things done a lot easier and a lot quicker, which at the end of the day is going to increase our profit margin. Well, everybody, I sort of made a fatal error when we sold the old farm, and I just forgot about it until this point. Now, back when we sold the farm, we also sold the yard pig, as I called it, which was our trusty little beat-up pickup truck that we bought to deliver tomatoes. Well, when I sold that, I also forgot that that was our vehicle that we had. That was our only vehicle other than our Kubota tractor. So I ended up having to hitch a ride with the movers when I moved out here, and they were totally fine with that. But unfortunately, that leaves me in a pickle right this second because I have to walk down to the store, and that's just unfortunate. It's going to take a little longer than what I expected to get there. All right, guys, I've made it here. Took a little bit longer to get to axles than I really wanted it to, but nonetheless, we're here. We've made it. So we're gonna take a look in their catalog for their sales and even maybe what they have on sale. Maybe we could buy a used tractor if we're lucky. So let's take a look and find out. All right, so their sales representative directed me here to their catalog. Um, I'm not really quite sure what we're looking for. We have to remember as we look that this needs to be considered as an investment to make more money in the long run. So, might we spend a little more than what we want on a tractor? Yes, but having two tractors on the farm is definitely going to increase productivity, and that's the most important part here. Um, well, here's our Kubota. It's a 153. I mean, we could buy a second Kubota, but honestly, if we're going to buy something, we may as well get something a little more powerful, like I mentioned, so this way we can actually pull stuff more efficiently. It'd be nice to have one tractor a little smaller and another tractor a bit larger. So obviously we don't want to bankrupt ourselves. So I mean, I don't think the large tractors are really in our price range. Maybe the Valtra? Man, I don't know, guys. Let's just stick to the mediums. Let's see what we can figure out here. The McCormick. I do like the McCormick. It is I don't really know, guys. There's nothing on sale that's used, so we're gonna have to stick right here. Now I really don't know which way I want to go. So our Kubota has 200 horsepower. Now if we were to look at this Valtra, man, that is a nice tractor. Wow. So we're talking 220,000 for max horsepower. Um, Jeez, guys, I really don't know what to do here. 220, or we can get this case. This says 224. Now we're getting up there. Now I'm just getting excited to get something new and ready to roll. This is also a very nice tractor. 247. Deutz Fahr. Is that how you pronounce it? I'm not really sure. Little Michelin front loader, of course. 253. I think this is the one, guys. I really think this is the one. But let's do our due diligence here. This one. So this one, if I attach the front loader, I don't know that we need that though. I don't know that we need to buy a front loader. We already have a front loader on the front of the Kubota. What does this do? Warrior. Oh, it just makes it look cooler. All right. Well, that's definitely not something we need to be concerned about. Well, guys, I've made my decision. We went with this Case Puma 260. It is a beautiful tractor here. Um, 300 horsepower. We did opt for the front loader attachment because I thought, you never know if we're going to have to lift something super heavy. Now, the only caveat to that is we don't actually have any front loader attachments yet for this, but we'll work towards it. This definitely set us back quite a bit. We went from $400,000 to $123,000, but I am going to remain steadfast in the fact that this is going to pay off in the long run for us. And although we definitely took a big hit in the first episode, that's okay. We're not here to save money anymore. We're here to make money. And to make money, I've always been taught you have to spend money. All right, listen, guys, I'm not going to be ashamed of spending this money that we spent all that time in FS22 building up. I am happy with these purchases. Now, I didn't purchase this plow next to us. I rented it out. Anything to help make this plowing go a little bit faster for us. So, with that said, it's time to start this bad boy up for the first time. So, let's enjoy it. Oh, man, look at this. This is a beautiful tractor. I'm pretty excited to get into this and start driving this. Man, what a beautiful ride. Alright, let's get this plow attached, get it back to the farm, and let's get helping our workers. Well, guys, we are back at the land, and we need to get this second piece all plowed up and ready to go. All right, as you can see, I'm back on field 2, just getting some spots that I sort of glossed over and missed here with the big cultivator. Our worker finished this field, he moved over to the other field, swapped out with me, so I have the little tractor again. You may also notice that we did spend a little more money while you were gone and while we were cultivating. Well, I decided to go ahead and purchase a fertilizer trailer so this way we could lime and fertilize our field because we don't have a fertilizer anymore. At least I don't think we do, but I couldn't remember and I didn't go check the barn. So, regardless, we need the trailer for lime, so I made the purchase. As I was taught, you can't make money without spending money. You're gonna hear me say that so much because honestly, it's just giving me an excuse to spend more and more money on really cool stuff, and that's sort of part of what I do. All right, just gonna take the plow in and park it. I guess I could have just opened. You know what? That'll probably be easier than backing all the way in there. Let's just go to the other side here, and we will open the barn from the other side, drive in straight, and make this easy for us. All right, let's see what we got here. Open this thing up. Really nice barn that we have here too. Can store a lot of our stuff in it. We'll rotate the plow. Try to. There we go. Whoop. See if we can get this parked back in where we got it from, huh? Well, that's about as good as it's gonna get for us there. So let's head on over to the shop, pick up that trailer. These guys at the shop are gonna just absolutely love us by the time we're done spending money on everything. Right now we're just kind of in building mode, so if we don't build up any massive funds, that's all right. We're just trying to make sure that we get everything we need to tend to our farm and maybe even do a couple contracts along the way too. I do think that I've kind of settled on a crop for us to start with. I think we're gonna go with the soybeans to start off. I feel like I don't really want to do silage. I know maybe that's the best way for us to make money right off the bat, but I feel like we just did 10 days worth of silage, and we're just silage out of our mind right now. So uh, we're gonna try the soybeans out, see where that takes us. Maybe we can get involved in a few productions, make a little more money, and if everything goes well, we'll even move on to some animals. I guess while I'm here, it wouldn't hurt just to buy some fertilizer. Let's see if we can find some consumables. Not fertilizer, rather lime. Although I'm not sure if there's a place to pick up lime, but I think we're just gonna buy some outright. 3 bags, that's 6, 8, 10,000. Let's start with this. Let's start with 10,000 liters. See where that gets us. It should fill our trailer completely, or at least get us pretty close. If we need more, we could always come back. Lime's not too very expensive, so we'll just see where that puts us. All right, all filled. This trailer holds about 9,000 liters of fertilizer or lime, so that's good news. Um, Personally, my preference is always to go with the fertilizer spreaders, but I noticed that in the last 10-day challenge we really needed a lime spreader quite often. We ended up not using any lime at all because we couldn't spread lime with the fertilizer spreader. So, not really sure why that is. Whenever I see farmers fertilizing or even liming their land, I always see them using pretty much whatever kind of spreader they can find. So, not sure why Farming Simulator does it that way. But regardless, let's get this back to the farm. We'll park it. We'll go over. We'll check on the AI workers, see how they're tending to that field over there with the plow, and maybe we'll come back and we'll start fertilizing these few fields that we have right on the farm. All right. Well, I parked the tractor over there, walked across the road from the farm, and here's our worker out here tending to this field. Now, I'm starting to think that we should just do silage on this field. We'll keep the soybeans close to the farm, but maybe we'll do some silage over here. We have all the equipment. We kind of know what we're doing with it. So we'll do a little bit of silage just to keep us afloat in case we screw anything up with the beans. I kind of like that idea. Now, that's not to say that it doesn't change in a few minutes here, but as of right now, that's sounding like a good plan in my head. All right, so I got all this. I got the lime all in here. Let's see how much this one field takes, and then we'll determine if we're going to need to buy more or not. I'm going to back this camera up. Oop, missed a little spot over there. Just so this way we can see what we're covering specifically and make sure we're getting the most out of all this lime. We certainly don't want to waste any bit of lime that we have. All right, we're just leaving axles again. Just picked up some more lime, filled the trailer back up to 9,000 liters. We didn't quite get through all 3 fields there, as you may have saw, but that's okay. So we had to refill the tank anyway because we have to do the lower field that we plan to do silage in. So we just figured we'd fill the tank completely up. Anything that we don't use, or if we get through it all, that's just fine too. But anything we don't use, we're just gonna keep at the farm. Now, with that said, we are definitely getting close to the end of our workday here. So we're gonna have to try and get this stuff limed up before we have to call it quits for the day. We certainly have to be happy with today's progress though, because we got all 4 fields plowed up, and it's looking like we're probably going to get all 4 fields limed as well. So that's great news. Lime, lime, lime. More lime for everything. I will say these fields are extremely bumpy. This small little tractor is not taking kindly to these bumps at all. I mean, we are getting stuck and slipping and sliding every bit of the way. So definitely something to keep in mind the next time we try to do field work, or the next time we buy a tractor. These small tractors might not do well on these big plowed fields. But nonetheless, we're going to get through it, and we will persevere and get everything done up and start making money in no time. Let's turn that off so we don't waste no more. There we go. Look at that thing. Look at how bumpy it is through here, guys. This is quite something. I've never seen something like this before. Turn that on. Make sure it's spreading. Yes, sir. All right. Well, with all the progress we made today, I'm actually super happy with it, as I already mentioned. Oh, we're stuck again. So super happy with all the progress we've made, and quite honestly, I'm excited to get to farming some crops here. Missed a little spot. We're gonna leave that spot. I don't think that small little spot without lime's really gonna make a huge difference, so we're probably just gonna leave it. Can't expect it to be perfect all the time. And that's one thing you have to remember. Farming is never a perfect operation. There's always gonna be hiccups and bumps and bruises along the way, and 95% of the time you spend farming, especially in this game, is gonna just be about persevering through your problems and making sure that you make the most of whatever the world gives you. Alright, so that field is complete being limed. So I think we should probably head over to the other field. It looks like our AI worker called it quits for the day, and that's okay, as we certainly don't want to have to pay them for any more work than what they need to do. I actually don't think we're going to have enough daylight to get this done, and we're not going to do it in the dark, that's for sure. So my first thought here is to drop this trailer off and get that big tractor hooked up to it, and maybe we'll pick up where we left off in the morning on this job. Alright, I definitely think that's going to be my plan here for now. We're gonna bring this case back over here, hook it up to the lime trailer, and that's gonna be it for today, everybody. We're gonna pick up where we left off tomorrow, and we'll get this field all limed up first thing in the morning. But we certainly don't want to wear ourselves out here, so we'll get this trailer hooked up. We'll turn the case off. We're going to leave it parked here. Made a lot of progress today. We got our fields somewhat prepared for planting. So once we get that all limed up, we'll then send some fertilizer over it, and then we'll get our soybeans and probably our silage all planted up, or rather our grass planted, so this way we can make silage. And that's going to be our goal for the next video. But I'm glad you guys all tuned in, and if you like today's content, definitely think about leaving a like, maybe subscribe to the channel if you're interested in seeing more, and as always, make sure you guys have a good day and treat your neighbors nicely. Adios!